Welcome to the Marketing Plan Podcast, where you'll find expert marketing advice for business owners and marketers who want real results. We bring you industry experts that give you advice on how to create more buzz around your brand. So buckle up and turn up the volume, because here comes our host, Sherry Benelli.
We're gonna take on the world.
Welcome to another edition of the Marketing Plan Podcast. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Erin Sparks as our guest. Erin is the owner and founder of Site Strategics and Edge Media Studios. Welcome, Erin. I'm happy to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sherry. And I got too many edges, right? We got Edge Media and we got Edge of the Web. We've got, there's so many that, just call us Edge and then we're good.
There you go. And it's good that you're such a nice, soft, caring person. You know, you're not edgy yourself. Well, you're edgy, you're a little edgy.
Don't ask my kids that, because they'll literally say, okay, what mood is Dad in today?
Exactly. Well, for those of you who are not familiar with Erin, he's got so much experience. He is the founder of Site Strategics, and it was founded in 2004. And like me, he's a veteran SEO person, search engine optimization person. He's been in the SEO industry for 17 years now?
Actually, the company is 17 years old. I've been doing it for 23 years. I actually started knocking it out around 1999, 2000, the .com era, right?
Yep, me too. Exactly. And so Edge of the Web Radio podcast is, I swear, one of the best podcasts to listen to if you want to get information about search engine optimization, digital marketing. And you guys are actually one of the leaders in that podcast niche, aren't you?
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're blessed to be able to do what we've been doing and enjoying it for the last 10 years. We're coming close to our 500 episode mark, although technically we've already passed that with bonuses and this and the other. But February is going to be 10 years that we've been doing this, and been able to speak with thought leaders such as yourself, as well as so many others that just teach us along the way of how to do what we do the best way possible. So it's been a hell of a ride, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, you're amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. And so your idea today on what we're going to talk about, I think, is really, really an innovative, interesting idea for people who are working with clients and customers. And it's a really unique marketing strategy that's not only going to help them learn more about their clients and their customers, but also give them, I think, a really good SEO, search engine optimization strategy as well, and give them more content and fodder to use on the internet. So we're going to talk a little bit about some SEO strategies, because we're longtime SEO geeks, I think.
Absolutely.
And then we're also going to talk about your interview method that you use with your clients as well. And so before we get started with the real technical stuff and the marketing stuff, my first question to you, I have to ask you this. If you had to pick, would it be Kirk or Picard?
Kirk all the way. Kirk all the way. Absolutely. Yep. I love Picard. I love the Next Generation, but Kirk was the guy that made it all happen.
I agree with you. And that 90-year-old Kirk is going to be going to space next week.
Going into space. My God.
I know. I will tell you a sad story, though. I had the best book as a kid. It was The Trouble with Tribbles. Yeah. It was a comic book with actual screenshots of the TV show. That's awesome. I swear to God, if I could find that book, it'd be worth like $1 million.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Most favorite episode.
I know. Who didn't want a pet Tribble whenever they were a kid,
Oh my gosh. So yeah. Trouble with Tribbles. That was my favorite. So we're going to go ahead and get our SEO fetish kind of out of the way.
Yeah.
Google's been making a big change, I think, on how it understands search queries and language of the web. And they're trying to make it easier to make people find the information they're looking for. And they're calling it MUM.
Yep.
And it stands for a multitask unified model, which Google never makes any of their acronyms easy for any of us to understand.
No, try to walk through a BERT. That's always fun.
Exactly. And so for people who are listening that don't have a lot of search engine optimization experience, could you explain that a little bit to people and kind of talk about how you can use content curation to kind of help Google understand the content on your website a little bit more?
Sure. Well, we're all trying to understand Mom as it's getting rolled out. And Mom is kind of an immersive picture. Think about what you're used to, the 10 blue links on the Google search page, and everything's actually already changing in that topography. So you've got your local pack, you've got your people also ask, you have all the things that we're getting more and more accustomed to on the SERP, and throw that completely out the window, because what we're about to start seeing is you want to say multimedia, but it's basically different types of content moved in front of you based on your query, either videos or images or audio or content or social, basically anything and everything that can help you understand and build your query further and anticipate what you're really looking for whenever you're looking for what are the best mountain bikes for this particular trail. All of a sudden you have a lot of different imagery and immersive media to be able to interact with. So all of those have particular intent orientation tied to them. So it's not just a big gallery of Instagram pictures. It's also understanding, okay, you really want this because this image has to do with this particular factor of going up the mountain. So as you interact with it, as I understand it, Mom's also going to be predictively analyzing what you're interacting with and then provide you even more information based on that. It's also an understanding of how people consume in the type of the omni-channel media space. So it's no longer just text on a screen. Yeah, it's going to be more of a predictive analysis of how you as a digital consumer like to interact. You may very well have more predilection to interact with an image as opposed to a link on a text SERP. So it's now actually trying to match that new media digital audience more. We're digital natives now, or there's a large set of the society that is. And we just don't want to read a text link. We want to actually interact with video and music and podcasts and what have you. So
yep. And
that's what I understand it.
Yeah, and it kind of anticipates like your next level of knowledge that you need about a subject too, right? I mean, from what I understand too. So if you are trying to figure out a planned trip to Ireland, for instance, and you're searching for a hotel, you may also want to know like things to see around that hotel or things like that. So it's really kind of taking everything to the next level so that you don't have to do multiple queries about a particular subject. You can kind of get all that information mapped out for you is kind of what I understand.
Interesting enough, it's almost like if you were mapping Google's brain on a subject, it's not just content, it's reading images, it's learning, it's transcribing videos, it's understanding timestamps on videos, it's understanding and transcribing podcasts and audio, right? So if you're and again, to channel my inner Jason Bernard, Google's a child trying to learn, and it's learning from all these different types of content, not just text. So what Mom is really kind of seeing how it's mapped an entity, an understanding of a topic matter in all of these different aspects of media. Therefore, you're kind of getting the inside look at Google's brain, and that's where users are going to be gravitating anyway because of their preference on different types of content. So you're meeting knowledge panel in its full understanding of the entities online, and it's providing you a way to navigate how best you want to navigate online as well. So there's kind of a unique perspective of consumer consumption as well as the brain of Google understanding all of the entity concepts and the media that fuels it.
Yep, and that's going to mean that marketers are going to kind of have to change how they produce content for their website, as well as search engine optimization specialists, how they optimize their website too. They're not going to just be able to put text on a page anymore. They're going to have to branch out more pictures and not just stock images either. They're going to have to be unique photos of their products and services and stuff like that, right?
I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right, is that the investment of authentic media is going to be going to the realm there, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of expense for small, medium-sized businesses to be able to create that type of entity narrative because Google's will be hungry for more and more authoritative images. Yeah, stock's going to be going the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
But you actually hit the nail on the head here, is that we're now going to be in for a huge change. And you use paradigm shift and all that bloody nonsense. But I mean, the data repositories like SEMrush, like Hrefs, all these different ranking report tool sets, which have been exploring all the different SERP result features, right, in the SERP result, are now going to have a whole nother understanding of the MUM topography, because it's not only going to be multimedia, it's also going to be completely unstable, because the consumer is also going to be interactive in that playground. So the signals, the listening skills of these SaaS platforms that we all trust for guiding how we're doing in space are going to have to learn a whole nother language,
right?
Almost, to be able to give us understanding of how well we're broadcasting into what Google's looking for, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we think ranking reports are really not as meaningful as they once were, man, it's going to be even more difficult now. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. So as far as, this new kind of paradigm shift, you're really well known, I think, for your Edge of the Web podcast. And as a podcast host, you get a lot of knowledge, for instance, from the guests that you're interviewing, just like I'm getting a lot of knowledge from you right now. So interviewing people is a great strategy to use. And you, I think, believe that media production is something that every marketing company or every business should sort of weave into their marketing strategy. Can you tell us how people can use video to help their marketing efforts and how they can use that to help their clients as well?
Certainly. So I think it was a good setup talking about MUM to begin with, because every marketing firm, any digital marketing firm that represents their clients, are going to have to explore and execute in a myriad of media ways for their clients. And whether they hire it out or they actually internalize it, that's really going to be a cost centered discussion or expense centered discussion, as the case may be. But they're going to have to execute this on behalf of their clients, because otherwise the narrative coming out of a digital marketing client's perspective is going to be kind of anemic. You can still write content. You have some really good content, right? And we understand that we're moving away from keywords into semantic SEO from a content standpoint, but it's still it's going to be tepid compared to a full-throated voice of sites and brands that can actually hit the omni-channel space. They can communicate and create threaded videos together that actually continue a thought beyond just one video, continue a series of concepts that are interrelated. There's your semantic relevancy right there, as well as podcasts that are sectionalized and topic oriented, again, with relationship to each and every other podcast that are in the same lane. You've got the content and social that can all be repurposed and curated, but they have to interrelate with each other. And there has to be kind of a mesh that is created with strategy in mind to be able to feed the Google beast. And if you're not in that space, in that omni-channel series of lanes on the highway, you're just plodding along with one lane, one particular series of tactics that will feed a particular type of audience, but you just won't get the compound effect of all of these different pieces working together.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that, like, if you're a traditional business, like let's say you're not an agency, for instance, and you're a medium-sized business owner or even a small business owner, any business owner in general, do you think that most people are going to have to hire agencies to help you with this kind of stuff? Are they going to have to hire video production companies? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's assuming that Google is looking for high quality content. I think it's going to be a good deal more forgiving, that if you can actually produce content, and even I want to tap on like web stories. Google rolled out the web stories about a year ago, and it's still in the background there. And I'm thinking that it rolled out that so you could actually start communicating in a MUM feed type of perspective as well. So just keep that in mind. It's still back there. Haven't seen core optimization techniques for that, but I do think that Google's going to be looking for more authoritative and maybe less polished type of content, because that's going to be kind of lining up to be more shareable, and the digital media audience, this new media audience, is savvy to something, an apple that's way too polished. They're going to be looking for some good information that can come out. We got one client that is a national histoplasmosis testing facility, right? And the doctor is incredibly brilliant, but he's not going to be an incredible on-screen presence. It doesn't matter. It's delivering the content. So we're opening up that channel of communication with podcasts, with small webcast type of delivery that's going to be connecting to other thought leaders in the space, and that's fine. It just needs to be opened up. So, there's going to be different type of signals for different type of industries. And if you're competing in a high volatile brand space with a high trending topic, you got to have your game on, right? But you don't have to do full production with red cameras to be able to narrate the history of histoplasmosis and why they're authority in the space. So, I mean, I do think that we're about to come into the era that all brands need to produce media in one way, shape, or form to be able to feed the consumers. And the quality is not going to be as important as the information that media is carrying.
The content's more important. The information is more important than how it looks.
Yeah. But to answer your first question, your initial question was literally, we're going to have to produce it, and companies are going to have to internalize that one way, shape, or form.
So they're going to actually have to start building this into their marketing plans or strategies, and it's just going to have to be part of what they do.
I think it goes beyond that. I think, forgive me, I'm sorry. I think it has to go into the corporate culture, and we are now going to have to use this as beyond just a marketing technique. It's going to have to be showcasing the stars and subject matter experts inside your organization, and be able to give everybody a mic, give everybody an insight into the company organization. And that has to be in a media format that is consumable. So it's going to be a pivot into how do we lift everybody with digital broadcast.
So then you need to make your clients the stars too.
That's right.
So tell me how you're doing that.
Well, we kind of got a history of what we've done here at Edge. We launched our podcast 10 years ago, and that was actually on the radio. We learned as we went how to produce. We built Edge Media Studios here in Indianapolis as a kind of a diversified revenue stream of being able to offer podcasting, webcasting for Indianapolis and the nation in different aspects. But what we learned along the way here is we got this entire process of curation that we've been doing for Edge for a while. So every time we do a show, we're doing multiple videos, multiple podcasts, curating content. So we're writing multiple blogs and then throwing it into social. So we pull maybe, I don't know, between 20 and 40 digital items, I guess, out of every one of our different shows, right? So we've got all these different pieces that narrate the show far beyond one particular page. So we've been learning this and been doing this for such a long time. It dawned on us, we have to be using this for our clients, because along the way, I picked up some interview skills, and I was able to start using that with our clients, and we'd get them in the studio, this very studio, get them on the mic without an intent to take them to a podcast regimen of doing a weekly show. It was just to actually do intake first and be able to learn from them. So new clients would come on. It's like part of our process is, hey, come in the studio, let's talk to you, let's understand a bit more about how you do what you do. However, that's also backed up with a lot of research in their industry, right? And understanding what top questions we should be asking as we start doing SEO research. What are the people also ask questions? How do we get granular on a particular topic that we don't know, right? And allow our subject matter expert to be able to kind of unfurl that. You get somebody on a mic like this.
Yeah.
They're a star. They got lights in here. We've got a professional atmosphere. All of a sudden, you start asking the right questions, And you're not feigning interest. You truly are interested, and you start finding the nuances of what they know. You start learning more. They find out that you're interested in this because we've got to market you, right? All of a sudden, they start providing almost like manna from heaven of subject matter expertise that we can document, we can transcribe, we can repurpose. Writing a blog post that comes from your client's own mouth of how they differentiate themselves, how their particular service is specialized, it basically writes itself. So it's more efficient, and it's their tone of voice, their information. We can literally create such efficiencies. We can drop 2/3 of the effort out of what we do in all the different lanes of content production just by having our client tell us what they do.
What a brilliant idea. Gosh, I wish I would have thought of that. That's way better.
It's crazy.
It's way better than sending them a piece of paper that says, answer these 10 questions, please.
Exactly. And even those intake documents can get really, really extreme. And then you start with a new client relationship, and the first thing you do is hit them over the head with a 3 to 5 page client intake document. Although it's very specialized, it's a tool to learn. It doesn't build a relationship and immediately alienates you from the client. You get them in here, they're a star, then they feel safe, still feel trusted, and you're actually interested in what they're doing and what makes them different in their marketplace. Boy, that's a relationship builder, bar none. It's an incredible thing.
Definitely. And so for people that aren't the clients that you have that aren't in Indianapolis, you do what we're doing right now. You get them on Zoom or another platform, and then they get to talk about themselves. And what business owner doesn't like to talk about themselves, right? We all like to do that.
Exactly. You find that high D business owner, and you just let the mics go. But I mean, the point is that as a marketer, and this is what's the most important thing, as a marketer that knows that you have to funnel that information to a particular destination, you also have to know what questions to ask and open up, because those entrepreneurs or those high D individuals, right, can very much just monopolize the entire thing and go, wow, no, you got to fence them in,
right?
Because I've got to sift through stuff that's, yeah, it's important to you. We're going to keep it there, but tell me about this, because we know, that this is actually a really trending topic or something that's really bubbling to the surface on the competitive landscape. So you have to channel them, with soft gloves there.
Mm-hmm. So what type of research do you do beforehand? I mean, obviously keyword research, industry research,
right?
You do all that kind of stuff before. Are there any other things you do in order to prepare?
We do competitive research. We do a good deal of people also answer the public inquiries, making sure that we can see what people are actually typing in, and also do just the topic research beyond what's volume. We literally, and every marketer does have to understand the dimensions of the service that you may not know. Mm-hmm. So we do our own exploratory of just understanding the subject matter enough to be able to be somewhat well versed in it. But all of a sudden, everything starts coming to light a little bit better of, oh, this is why people are asking that. Then you pivot around and start asking that pointed question. And now the client understands, hey, you've done your research. And then 2, wow, that's actually an interesting question that we never got asked before. And then that unpacks an entire another level of insight from them. You got to find those sparks with, no pun intended, with the client, and then all of a sudden that just pops in their mind. You get things that never existed on the face of the planet from a content standpoint, and all of a sudden you've got some superpowers when it comes down to content delivery, because that could be that bellwether content opportunity or that deciding factor for consumers to actually review and consider this company before anybody else, because they've been able to have an opportunity to communicate it,
No, I would give you like a gold star if I could, because I think that's a brilliant idea. I mean, seriously, this is a golden opportunity, I think, for a lot of marketers who are looking for ways to differentiate themselves.
Yep.
So I have a feeling you're going to have a lot of people stealing your idea right now, which I think is good because you're helping everybody. What do your clients think of this? Do they love it?
They do. They do. Some are gun shy, however. I mean, and you got to understand is that not you may have some entrepreneurs out there that run companies, but a lot of times they're not screen ready or they're not personalities on the mic, and that doesn't matter. Is that it's the research, it's the questioning, and it's the interview process that is going to be relaxing to them. They'll understand it. And it's really about capturing the data, not making them a superstar. If they happen to really shine on the camera, right?
Great.
Or sometimes maybe somebody else besides that owner or that stakeholder steps up to the plate. Now they have somebody that they can actually create as a star, as a subject matter expert inside of their organization. I mean, that's some newfound territory they would have never experienced had they not had the opportunity to kind of showcase their concepts, right?
Definitely. Wow. That's really, really cool. I love it. I love it. And so so how many clients have you done this with then?
I think we try to do one each month. And we also found ourselves in a place where we're using it much more for intake. So for new clients, it's a must. For old clients, and we have a diversified set of clients in the manufacturing and the pharmacy and legal environments. There's some that are very avoidant of any type of they see this as too much of a pressure point as opposed to an opportunity.
Right.
So we find different ways to actually do it. But we've also found that this is a perfect scenario to actually record a case study narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, case studies are the bane of my existence. I don't know what it's been. It's always been in our shop a really tough time to be able to pull that together. But if you get somebody on the mic talking about what they did for a client, so sometimes maybe they're not too focused on how they can make their services sound special. But boy, as soon as they talk about the success that they had with one of their clients and all the problem solving that they do, what they don't realize is they're giving us the same information, but they're focusing on their own customer. And then you've got subject matter expertise, you've got diversification and unique selling propositions that you can leverage in social and other pieces of content. And now you also have a case study. And if they bring if it's a package or something that they've actually built, we can actually take photos of that and do an entire photo shoot right here in the studio on that. So now we've got that with camera quality artwork. They're talking about everything they've been able to do for their client. It just kind of writes itself. So you just got to horse whisper them, but you also have to get them focused in the right direction. And they just go to town on talking about how well they've been able to help others.
No, and I agree. I mean, case studies, writing them are painful and very time intensive. So if you can get that information verbally from them, that's way better. Yeah. I know I've interviewed people that have been helped by some of my clients and then transcribed it. And that has helped a little bit. But yeah, I mean, definitely if you can get that information and do a case study that way, that's way the heck more easy than what I've been doing in the past. So then you have the interview, the intake client interview. So then explain how you might be able to curate that into other different pieces of content.
Sure. So you've seen the studio here. We've got multiple cameras. We've got quality audio. We always lay down transcriptions on everything, and then we kind of preen over that. Okay, what's the best use of this particular content? Is it a blog? Is it an infographic? Is it social media? Is it a series of podcasts? Right? Can we actually do something with the recording without having it formatted and scripted as such? Maybe it can be a quick hot take on this from the president of the company. Right? Taking a video, we can actually, and we have multiple camera angles that we can actually edit in post. So it's not really necessary to get the perfect picture during that recording, as long as we're capturing it. And then we can actually see, okay, can we repurpose this in a quick 15-second explainer video on a service page, right? Pardon me. Can we utilize this in a 15-second or a piece of it in a 15-second Facebook ad, right? What can we do with that guest or with the client here in the studio? But we also are a media production company, so we can actually take any of the pieces of narrative or audio and spin it into audiograms or any attractive piece of media content for advertising or just organic content and move it into the ecosystem. So we're kind of translators as a way. I liken it to, I use analogies like nobody's business, but I use an analogy of, okay, is that if the president of the US goes to the UN, right, he's not talking directly to them. He has translators and everybody around the world, all these leaders are listening to it in their own language. That's what we do, is actually deliver the content in the language of that particular new media audience, how they want to listen to it. And it's also guided by what's going on in the industry. You could very well be a disruptor in the industry if, for example, our histoplasmosis testing example, all of a sudden they're leading a podcast where nobody else is, right? Because of the traditional nature and the scientific nature of this industry. All of a sudden now, the small movements in that space are disruptors, and it can gain attention more than the large broadcast of so many different types of media in a well blazoned high brand type of environment. So you can pick your different media as well, and kind of use it as much more of a laser focus than having to have a swath of everything under the planet. You don't have to fulfill all of the different lanes in the Omni-Channel highway, but you do need to touch at least those on a regular basis in the audio, the social, potentially live stream, the video aspects, and other types of referenceable content. Infographics are actually a really good destination for what you can do whenever you do this type of client intake.
That's so cool. I love all of those ideas. That is so cool. I love it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So do you have any other tips with regard to this topic that you'd like to share? Anything else that you can think of?
Well, we kind of teed up this interview method, right? And it's not just asking questions, like you said. It's not just asking 10, 20 questions. Okay, we're done, right? It's really there's a incredible benefit of relationship building whenever you're asking questions and you're truly interested in what your clients are doing. And you just can't feign that with an intake document. You just can't feign it with an interview. You can with these type of tools to be able to get an intake. But if you're actually with your client, you're asking these questions and you're having that moment together, right? There's foundational building there of trust, right? And they know that if you're asking right questions and you came prepared, right, the longevity of that relationship, because we all know in digital marketing, companies burn through digital marketing firms every 3 months. Yep. They're not getting what they were looking for, they'll move on.
Right.
And a lot of time, that's the accountability of the client, that they don't have the savviness to understand and get to wait with the digital marketers until you've got momentum. But time. It absolutely does. But you have that foxhole mentality, you've got that trust build. And I really do think that, for account management, right, it's essential to be able to have these type of moments with a client. Share us your thoughts, share us what's going on. Is there something else that you're seeing in the industry that we can talk about during an interview so we can capture it? But let us learn from you and have that as a promise that you're giving to your clients on a regular basis. Every quarter, can we learn from you more? Think about that. Think about what that means as a digital marketing agencies asking that of you. You're getting lifted up on a particular pedestal by the marketing firm,
Yeah. It makes them feel extra special. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? I love that. And they're going to be, I think, more inclined to stick with you because you're giving them that extra special attention that normal agencies aren't going to do.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I think you have a lot of clients that like you, Erin.
We try, and we have a lot. We do actually have a really a good group of clients that stayed with us all the way through COVID. blessed to be able to have not a one dropped off.
That's awesome.
It really is. And our mean age of our clients is around 5 years. So we've got some long-termers that have been well over 10 years.
Wow.
So they trust Site to be able to steward them all the way through the rocky shoals. I mean, for the last 10 years, what we've been through with Google algorithm updates and the like. So
it's hard to keep up sometimes. It really is. And, to have that trust and to have that retention rate is really unheard of. Bravo. Seriously. That's awesome. It. Nice job. Nice job.
It's a testament to the team that we have here, because I'm just a talking head over here on the mic.
Oh, with a great radio voice. I love your voice.
Thank you very much.
I need to work on that.
I don't think you can pull this one off.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So I guess one final question, well, a couple questions to wrap this up. One of my philosophies is, if you don't make mistakes, you're not doing something right. I mean, as entrepreneurs or even just in business, you're going to make mistakes and you learn from them. Can you give me one marketing mistake that you've made where you've learned something that hopefully we can learn from your mistake?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you a bit of, I guess maybe a mistake in operations, or a mistake in maybe too focused on maybe even the utilization of the studio. Early on, after we built this, I was using this studio to be able to connect and actually run a show here for local Indianapolis businesses. Right.
Okay.
So it was called Edge of Indy, and it was kind of coupling the entire edge. And we were interviewing it had multiple segments each show. We were doing the weather with a local weather celebrity. It was really that local insight into what's moving and shaking in the Indianapolis community business wise, lifting some really interesting people and interesting efforts and causes. And we were doing it for a good year straight. And I was soaking up so much time inside of my organization without any goals set of what we were going to be doing with this. It was much more of, I hate networking. So it was my attempt to actually network with businesses, be able to get them in here, showcase a studio, show them that they could do something. But I didn't listen to my operation manager at the time. I didn't listen to some core people that were in this organization. They're saying, hey, we're spending a shitload of time on this. And it was also at the detriment of getting work done for our clients. I was way myopic on hey, look at this bright new shiny tool. And on top of that, kind of lifting myself up in the Indianapolis community. And I was really stepping way over myself. And I should have receded a good deal earlier and lifted up my clients instead. Now there's some insight there that it was very painful. I had a lot of struggles and some departures of personnel because of it, because I wasn't navigating with a level of fiduciary responsibility that I probably should have been taken a gander at a good deal earlier. So there's a big mistake there. We learned from it, and we operationalized from that. And it was a good effort, I think, in just trying to create a relationship, but it was way too heavy on all the work it took to be able to produce those. So I can't even imagine
how much time that probably took.
In retail, you're spending probably around $10,000 to $13,000 a month on time. And just think about how that it can break the bank if you don't have your time nailed down. It was not a well-planned execution, and obviously there was a series of ripples that really affected our organization because of that.
Yeah, and I guess it's a great lesson, because I think a lot of us get some of these pet project ideas in our head and think, okay, this is a good direction for us to go, without thinking through what's the end goal, what's the objective, and how is this going to actually help our business. So that's a great lesson. I love it, Erin. You
gotta burst your own hubris bubble every once in a while, right? Because you can think you're the biggest star in town, but if you're not doing the work correctly, then you're going to affect a lot of people and people that rely upon you too. So
Right. No, that's awesome. I love that one. I love it. So what's the best way for people to reach you? Because you are very intriguing. You have full of good ideas. Obviously, you are very good at what you do. And I know from being interviewed on your podcast several times and hopefully again in the future,
Yeah.
you're really good at what you do. How can people reach you if they want to learn more?
Appreciate it. Well, you can find our agency is Site Strategics. You can always find us there. You can also find us at Edge of the Web. Heck, you can then just search for SEO podcast, and we're #1 on Google in the carousel. So
Go
how about that?
How did that happen?
I don't know.
Way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. We're linked by every trade organization, search engine journal, search engine land, and a slew of others that you see ranking there, all pointing to us of one of the top 3 in the world actually, which is fantastic. Again, we couldn't be more thankful for what the community has given to us. You can find us there. You can find my bio over at Edge as well as over at Site. Erin Sparks on. Here's the deal. I'm the only male that you're going to find spelled ERIN.
There you go.
My kids remind me of that often. It's kind of like a boy named Sue from the Johnny Cash song,
How
right?
did your mom and dad do that?
Oh my gosh. Well, my mom's British, so I blame her completely.
Okay.
Because Erin is actually the name of Ireland. So that's the true name of Ireland. So that came with me. And you don't believe the crap I had to go through as a kid because you had Joni Mitchachi. What was the actress's name? That was an Erin. They had Erin Gray. Yeah. You had Erin Gray from Buck Rogers. So anyway, not sharing too much there, but you look for Erin Sparks in the mess of girls and ladies there. You'll find Erin Sparks images.
There you go.
I'll just own the space. How about that?
There you go. And we'll put all of Erin's information on the show notes as well. So you can find him and get in touch with him because he is a wealth of knowledge, and definitely go ahead and subscribe to his podcast because he is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erin. It was great having you as a guest today, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, and best of luck with this endeavor. And we'll certainly lift you up as we see the shows come through because we need more thought leaders doing this type of thing regularly and having authentic conversations in the marketplace.
Great. Thanks, Erin. Appreciate it. Thank you.
More than welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.